The Western man has been trained like a dog, and you notice that when you look at Islam. And by the way, people are probably confused now because in my videos I always call out Islam because, they kill gay people just for existing, and that harms me, so it should be like obvious why I call them out. But in the end, as Ben Shapiro says, facts don't care about your feelings. And when I look at some Islamic countries where a man can have up to four wives and like an indefinite number of concubines. Like I have to admit, that was back in the day when the news broke with the United States leaving Afghanistan, and then there were these news reports where people again were calling out the Taliban for having like the ability to have four wives, and a lot of people were again like disgusted, outraged, and I have to admit that back in the day I also thought, like, how can we allow something like that? Women aren't like objects. How can you have four wives? Like, because in my personal opinion I would only want to have one partner, but in the end, after I learned more about, like, I look a lot at these movements like men going their own way, in short MGTOW, or the red pill manosphere, even though I'm not really addressed, or this is not really about me, be- because I'm not a straight man. But it's still interesting because when you listen to these people, you learn a lot about our biology, our instincts, why men behave the way they do, or why women behave the way they do. And on average, there are of course exceptions, but again, as I always point out in my videos, I'm an exception too in my behavior. I'm not a typical man, but that doesn't mean that I should now deny reality. That's why I'm interested in movements like that, because they do not deny reality, unlike feminists, and they talk about science, like biology, and this is something that helped me too. But back to the main point of the video, I once found out, because I was listening to a podcast or an article from this manosphere or MGTOW, can't remember, it was a long time ago, um, that men can get up to like 7 women pregnant a day. I'm not sure if that applies to every man, but even if it is just only one woman a day, and we can all agree on that this is a possibility, it shows that based on men's biology, they can have like over 300 children a year. Like, this is still based on their instincts. This is something they strive for. That's why you have that double standard, that when men aren't successful in sleeping around, when there are virgins, they are called incels, they are being made fun of. But when there are these so-called chads and sleep around a lot and like nail a lot of women, they are like supported. A lot of people like see them as a real man, or say they're guarded, they are the alpha males. Although I have to say there are a few people like in the conservative movement who disapprove of that too, but it is another topic for another day. In the end, I just wanted to say that we shouldn't deny men's nature, that it is normal for them wanting to seek out several women, and even if they don't want to get them pregnant and want children with them, because nowadays they are punished with child support and being shamed that they're just abandoned women they have gotten pregnant. But this is again an example of our biology, our ancient instincts clashing with modern society. It still doesn't change the fact that when men seek out wanting to sleep with as much women as possible, this is based on the fact that they want to spread their seed, that they want to reproduce. And with that knowledge now, when you think about it, it makes so much more sense what's going on in Islam, how when that these men are allowed to have four wives. I would actually argue they should have 10 wives or even more, but maybe this is too much responsibility, and they also think, okay, the other men should have something for themselves too, because otherwise we would end up in a situation where only one man reproduces and the others are kind of like left out, which I think in history has happened. But in the end, when we look at the Western Christian man, how we assume or just say he should be satisfied with having, like when he marries, that he has only one woman he can sleep with for the rest of his life, and combine it with what I just told you about their biology, about men's biology, how they want to sleep with as much women as possible. This is I don't know. Like as I said, men have been trained like dogs, and for me, this is not necessarily about promoting that idea, because as I said, I personally don't want to have several boyfriends or something like that. It's not for me. But for me, it's more like that we are aware of that, and when we are aware of that, how can we call Western countries patriarchies? This is as far as it gets from a patriarchy. It makes no sense calling this a patriarchy. These Islamic countries, they are patriarchies. But to shame Western men when they already are kind of like almost indoctrinated from a very young age to strive for having only one wife and one family and not are not supposed to cheat and are punished with child support when they sleep around. This is not a patriarchy. So instead of being offended by me from just saying how it is, maybe we should start thinking about our biology, because as you see in this video in the background by Censored Man, okay, I don't know if he made the video, but he posted it on X. It was an interview in Japan where Japanese women were asked if if they were mad if their husband or boyfriend would use a prostitute, and the vast majority of them said that they wouldn't. They would think it's normal as long as feelings aren't involved. And yeah, that's just how it is. I mean, these people have high IQs. They are probably aware, most likely aware of men's biology, of women's biology. They are not as like, how do you say, indoctrinated by feminism, uneducated as we Western people. And because they realize the true nature of us humans, for them it is something easier to accept. I remember these comments below that video, and a lot of people were again outraged and were like, how can they like allow that? But I have to admit, as long as like I would be, let's say I have a bisexual boyfriend, which I had in the past, and I would be scared if he would get pregnant someone, if he would like if someone else gets pregnant by him, another woman. But in the end, if I would make sure that he uses a condom and just wants to have fun, why not? Because in the end, as on one side I said I don't want several boyfriends, but I'm also a man, and I get it that men want to have as much sex as possible. So in the end, I just don't want to deny nature. And in the end, it was just a hypothetical example. In the end, when I end up with a bisexual man again, if that happens, then I don't know if I would really go that far and say, okay, you can sleep around, use prostitutes. But I also have to say, because of what I just explained in the video, it wouldn't be that thought wouldn't be that strange anymore. And that's kind of like also the message of my video. Even if you don't like what I said, you can't deny biology, you can't deny our instincts, and you don't have to now let your husbands loose and say they can sleep around, but it's more like appreciating of the sacrifice Western men make, that they're like okay with the fact to only have one partner, one wife. Like, this is taken for granted, and it shouldn't be.